Hey guys, it's Ross Hardy from the Hardy team at Remax Marketing Specialist, and I'm going to do something a little bit different again today with my video. I'm going to play with my new toy here. It's kind of like an election night style thing, so we'll see how that goes. Hopefully the technology plays nice. But in this multiple offer market, you're probably hearing the term highest and best being thrown around. I want to break down what that means and show a key differentiation to show that the highest offer is not always necessarily the best. And I'm going to use a real world scenario on a property that closed today to highlight that. So stick with me for a couple of minutes here, please. So in the scenario we're talking about here, when I went to see the owner of the home and give a valuation of the property, the comparables in the market at that time were indicating that the home was valued around about $325,000. Now, what we want to do is we want to try and get a jump on where the market is going over the next 30 or 45 days. So what we decided to do was we decided to list it at $335,000. That allowed from the time of the listing to the time of the closing to capture any appreciation in the market. So that's the first key point here, is trying to show where the market is going as opposed to where it's at that exact point in time. Now, we actually received 3 offers on the property. One for $351,000, one for $360,000, and one for $345,000. Now, with just this information, it would be clear which one was the highest offer, and all things being the same, would also be the best offer here, which is the $360,000 offer. But let's jump forward a little bit and see what the terms of the offer were to decipher where we were at. Now, offer 2 decided they would pay $10,000 over any appraisal shortfall, meaning that if the property appraised at the $325,000, which was the estimated value at the time of the listing, that offer would actually only be worth $335,000. The $351,000 with no other additional terms would be worth $325,000. And the cash offer, because it's not subject to any appraisals, would be worth $345,000. So that's a pretty straightforward analysis of what the best offer might be in that scenario. But again, this doesn't tell the whole story, because we're working off of the estimated value of the property at the time of the listing. What again we want to do is not only just predict that where the market's going to be at the time of where we list it, but then at the time of the accepted offer. So at the time of the accepted offer, it looked as if the estimated appraisal value, because the appraisal's 2 weeks out from the time that the offer's accepted, would be somewhere in the neighborhood of $340,000. And the offer at $351,000 decided to waive the appraisal contingency altogether, meaning it was not subject to the appraisal. So what does this mean for the estimated net? Well, taking the $340,000, that would give us $351K for the first offer. $350 for the second, and then $345 for the third. So now you can see these offers are very, very closely matched. However, you have to decide what is the margin of error. Yes, is it possible the property could appraise at $345,000, making this worth $355,000? Absolutely, but it's just as conceivable it could appraise at $335,000, which was the estimation at the time of the listing for the list price, which would bring this down. So the seller in the end decided that they were more comfortable taking something that's a little bit more certain and went with the $351,000. So again, it shows the importance of 1, predicting where the market might go at the time of the listing, and then predicting where the appraisal value may go at the time of the accepted offer. It makes a huge, huge difference here, because what would have been the best offer in the first scenario is now no longer the best offer. You can pretty much at this point eradicate the cash offer and just work off of offer 1 and 2. So guys, hopefully this shows you why the highest offer is not necessarily the best offer, and how the potential appraised value or additional terms in the contract can make a huge difference as to how that landscape looks as to what might be the best offer for the seller. Now, there are also additional terms that come into play here. So what other terms might determine a best offer? They might put down a higher escrow amount or make that escrow non-refundable. That would be a big, big sign of intent. They might make a shorter inspection period. This is very, very, very important for somebody who's making a purchase on the other side with a cash offer. They know once that 5-7 day inspection period has passed, that contract is locked in essentially. There might be a post-occupancy agreement. I just did one of these yesterday. The seller is moving across the country, doesn't have a property sorted out yet, and they have a complimentary 30-day post-occupancy. This is going to save them having to rent for 2 or 3 months over in the Portland area where the rents are sky high. This probably has a monetary value to them of around about $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, which makes a huge difference to them. So additional terms such as post-occupancy. And then finally, waiving the financing contingency altogether. This essentially makes an offer as good as cash. So this would be a huge one, almost as big or if not bigger than waiving the appraisal contingency. So guys, hopefully you see the differentiation between highest and best, how they might not always be the same thing, and also how additional terms can make a big difference here. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you found it useful. If you have any questions, always feel free to reach out to me. I'm Ross Hardy with the Hardy team, and thank you very much for watching.